In this video, we're gonna do the trimming, the baseboards technically. So we have this 1x4 baseboards that we are dry cutting and putting it everywhere. There's a miter cut right there. It doesn't have to be perfect. So it's just dry fitting at this point and just laying it out there. And we're gonna nail it later once we have all the dry fittings. For these kind of ends, we actually cut off the existing trim and put the baseboard flush with this side over here. That's how my wife wanted. It looks good, I think. This is another example. Cut off this one and extended the new baseboard all the way to the end. In order to get the miter cuts, I set my miter saw to 45 degrees like this and just cut it to length. The way we started is we started from one end, had the miter cut, and then went in one direction all the way. In some places we see that because of the uneven flooring, you can see that gap over there, and there is no gap over there. And even though with my self-leveling treatment, it didn't still quite get everything in level. And that's okay. I mean, we have no choices in these kind of old houses. So we have to live with this, but it creates a problem while putting these baseboards in. So whenever there is a big gap like that, like we had a big gap over there, we had to cut the baseboard over there. If we didn't cut it, there'll be a 1-inch lift up over there. So we had to cut it over there, and then we'll just glue it in. That's how we divide and conquer, so to speak. This is an example. As you see, once I push the baseboard here, you can see it's lifted up almost an inch on the top. So this won't look good, it's too much. So I'm gonna choose a point in the middle where there's a hump and cut it, and then use the same two pieces and use some wood filler or probably caulk, not sure, to make it not lift up like that. We mark the stud locations with the stud finder and then use the brad nail gun to just nail the baseboards to the wall. Once the baseboards are nailed in, we use caulk to cover all the gaps on the top and in between boards. This is the caulk that we are using. Says for premium molding and trim sealant, and says here paint in 30 minutes, so it's paintable, of course. That's what we use for all the gaps between the baseboard and the wall, and also between the baseboards. The orange gun, it's called a caulk gun, comes separately, can be bought separately, and that's what we use to push this caulk into the gaps. Sometimes the 4 or 5 inch baseboard may be too wide for certain places like air conditioning vents. So I used a router table to cut it down in width so it can fit in these locations. The lighting's a little bit poor here, but you can see this notch that was made for the AC vent. A notch here that's made for that latch mechanism. And there's a notch that's made over here that keeps the gate in the notch like this. This is the finished trims. The magic of caulk is at work here. You can see the caulk that we put all the way, pushed it inside, and then just rubbed it with the finger like this over there. So all the gaps that we had before, larger gaps too, up to 1/8 of an inch, they're all filled up, and it all looks as if it's one trim. Another example here on the side over here. So once we put the caulk on and let it dry for about 30 minutes, then we painted on it, and that's it. Thanks for watching.